Good evening and welcome to the hashtag. Here's some food for thought. In an effort to save money, Parliament House in Canberra are no longer going to be providing a complimentary morning tea for school children who go there on excursions. Which sounds pretty harsh given that the morning tea is probably the most exciting part of the entire day for them. But no, it makes sense. We've overspent, but instead of blaming ourselves, we're going to literally let young children go hungry in an attempt to cover our losses. That's the government I voted for.
It's not just the kids I'm concerned about, the teachers as well. It'd be just like going to a talk for work for professional development, smiling and nodding for the entire day, pretending I'm listening and giving a crap about what's being said, but really there's a small part of my mind that's constantly counting down until the next food break, is constantly keeping an eye on the catering staff member as he flits into and out of my peripheral vision, bringing things to and from the room, and is constantly thinking of strategies that I may use to avoid lunchtime conversation so that I may get to the table quickly enough to ensure that I don't miss out on getting any of the good sandwiches.
Any questions for the lecturer? Yes sir, I've got one. What's the pineapple like this time? It had better be fresh, yellow and juicy. None of that crap you gave us last year. If I wanted dry, beige and crunchy, I would have a raw potato. Thank you very much. Okay, so saving money's an issue. Okay, registered. Tick. 235,000 is a great amount to save. However, it will be interesting to see the looks on the kids' faces when they walk through the Houses of Parliament and see the pampered politicians gorging on their own free food that nobody thought to question, stuffing their faces with gourmet croissants while they work up a real sweat in their cushy air-conditioned offices, and then throwing away 3/4 of the plate anyway because they weren't that hungry to begin with.
If you're really interested in saving money by making cutbacks, I've got an idea. Maybe you should look at cutting out a few of your own perks and unnecessary indulgences before you look at punishing the children who dare to take an interest in what goes into running a government. Holidays 5 times a year, anyone? Well, you deserve it. Off you go. Off you go to Hawaii, you little scamp. Be back in time for dinner though. We're having some of the freshest, yellowest and juiciest pineapple that money can buy.
On the other hand, if you were to consider the economy without getting too emotional about it...
Oh, those poor children!
Yes, I actually think getting rid of the free food might be a reasonable call. Consider that the majority of workers have to be working for at least 3 hours in order to be entitled to a morning tea break. And let's face it, when you go to Parliament and do the tour, seeing everything that's actually interesting will take you a little bit more than 10 minutes, if you dawdle. No meal break necessary. Brilliant! However, if you were to go by the same principle, you would also have to consider the entire city of Canberra itself. A city where touring around and doing everything interesting you can possibly find will take you no more than 2.5 hours before you then get bored and decide you want to go home. So why not just get rid of morning tea in the entire city? Altogether, just abolish the meal completely because nobody deserves it. Shut down the entire city's cafe network at morning tea time. That way, no one serves any food, you're saving on everyone's running costs, and bada bing bada boom, you're saving the economy a lot more than 235,000. The place is boring. I've been to Canberra. I've spent a weekend there, just 2 days as a tourist, and I got bored. I spent most of the Saturday in an art exhibition at a museum, and that was great, but that was a temporary exhibition, so to be fair, not even that's there anymore. I got to Parliament House at 4:45, and I was still searching around for things to do before the place closed at 5 o'clock. Sunday morning was a bit more eventful. I brushed my teeth, I toileted myself, and I went to the movies, in that order. That's right, I know. I went to the movies. It was so bizarre. I was so confused. And looking back, I don't know what confused me more. The fact that I would gladly pay $100 for a plane ticket to go and sit in a movie theatre in a different city, or the plot for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Following the movie, we went for a stroll, looked at a few roundabouts, and I toileted myself again. Not at the same time, mind you. But you know what we spent most of the Sunday doing? Walking around looking for a place to eat. That's right, food again. The most exciting part of my entire trip to Canberra involved food. So Julia, Jules, Gilly, if food really is the most exciting thing about your entire city, the biggest crowd pleaser, the biggest crowd magnet, I would think twice before you stopped using it, especially on the minds of young impressionable children who don't hate the government yet. Don't make the children hate the government. Wait until they're old enough to start reading the paper and they'll start to do it on their own. Can't believe we just did that. This complimentary food thing may cost Canberra a bit of money, but suck it up, Canberra. Food is your most appealing feature. I ask you, would Paris get rid of the Eiffel Tower? Would New York get rid of the Statue of Liberty? Would Amsterdam get rid of all the sex shops? The answer is a resounding, hopefully not. My name's Ashley McPherson. Cheery Olipop.